On the night of January 31st, 2013, a surveillance camera inside Los Angeles' infamous Cecil Hotel captured footage that would later become one of the most analyzed videos on the internet. The young woman in the elevator was 21-year-old Canadian student Elisa Lam. At first glance, she appeared to be acting strangely, stepping in and out of the elevator, pressing multiple buttons, hiding near the walls, and looking into the hallway as if she was expecting someone, or trying to avoid someone. At that moment, no one could have imagined these would become the last confirmed images of Elisa Lam alive. Just days later, hotel guests began complaining that the water tasted strange, looked discolored, and had an unusual smell. What hotel staff discovered on the rooftop would shock the entire world and turn Elisa Lam's disappearance into one of the most haunting mysteries in modern history. Elisa Lam had traveled alone from Vancouver, Canada, hoping to experience California during her vacation. Friends described her as intelligent, creative, and passionate about writing. She often shared her thoughts and travel experiences on her personal blog, excited to explore new places on her own. To save money, she checked into the Cecil Hotel, a building that already carried a dark reputation after decades of crime, violence, and mysterious deaths. Located near Los Angeles' notorious Skid Row district, the hotel had become one of the city's most controversial landmarks. During the first few days of her stay, everything appeared completely normal. She visited local bookstores, explored the city, and kept in touch with her family every single day. Then, without warning, all communication suddenly stopped. On February 1st, Elisa was scheduled to check out of the hotel and continue her trip to Santa Cruz. But that morning, she never arrived. Her parents, who had been expecting her daily phone calls, immediately realized something was wrong. After several unsuccessful attempts to reach her, they contacted the Los Angeles Police Department and reported her missing. Officers quickly began searching the Cecil Hotel, questioning employees and checking every floor of the building. Hotel staff searched Elisa's room but found no signs of violence or a struggle. Her personal belongings had been left behind, making her disappearance even more unusual. As the days passed with no new clues, investigators decided to examine the hotel's security camera recordings. They hoped the footage would reveal where Elisa had gone. Instead, they discovered a video that would leave millions of people searching for answers. When detectives reviewed the hotel's surveillance footage, one particular recording immediately caught their attention. The video showed Elisa Lam entering an elevator shortly before she disappeared. At first, everything seemed ordinary, but within seconds, her behavior became increasingly difficult to explain. She repeatedly pressed multiple elevator buttons, stepped in and out of the elevator several times, hid against the walls as if trying to avoid someone, and cautiously looked into the hallway. At one point, she even appeared to gesture and speak to someone, yet no one could be seen on the camera. Even stranger, the elevator doors refused to close for an unusually long time, despite Elisa repeatedly pressing the buttons. To this day, millions of people continue to debate what was really happening inside that elevator. After releasing the elevator footage to the public, investigators hoped someone would recognize Elisa or provide new information about where she had gone. Instead, the mysterious video created even more questions than answers. Millions of people watched the footage, carefully analyzing every movement. Some believed Elisa was hiding from someone just outside the elevator. Others thought she was talking to a person the camera couldn't capture. There were also those who believed her unusual behavior could be explained by a medical condition. But despite countless theories, none of them explained one simple question. If Elisa had left the elevator alive, where did she go next? Meanwhile, police searched the entire hotel once again, including hallways, empty rooms, stairwells, and the rooftop. Still, there was no trace of Elisa Lam. Nearly 3 weeks after Elisa disappeared, hotel guests began reporting a disturbing problem. They complained that the water coming from their faucets looked dark, had an unusual taste, and carried a strange odor. At first, staff believed it was simply a plumbing issue. But when maintenance workers climbed onto the roof to inspect the hotel's 4 large water tanks, they made a horrifying discovery. Inside one of the tanks was the body of Elisa Lam. The news shocked not only Los Angeles, but the entire world. Suddenly, every strange detail surrounding her disappearance became even more unsettling. The mystery had only just begun. Following the discovery of Elisa Lam's body, investigators focused on one critical question. How had she reached the rooftop water tank in the first place? According to hotel staff, access to the roof was restricted. Doors were locked, some areas were protected by alarms, and the large water tanks were difficult to reach without climbing several metal ladders. Even after reaching the top, each tank was covered with a heavy metal lid. The investigation quickly became more complicated. Detectives searched for fingerprints, signs of forced entry, and evidence that another person had been involved. Yet none of the findings provided a clear explanation. Instead of solving the mystery, every new detail seemed to create even more unanswered questions. On June 20th, 2013, the Los Angeles County coroner released the official autopsy results. According to the report, Elisa Lam's death was ruled an accidental drowning. Investigators found no evidence of physical assault, and toxicology tests showed no signs of alcohol or illegal drugs contributing to her death. However, the report did not answer the questions that continued to trouble both investigators and the public. How had Elisa entered the water tank? Why had she climbed onto the roof? And perhaps most importantly, what had caused her unusual behavior in the elevator just days before her body was discovered? Although the official investigation was closed, public debate was only beginning. Over the years, countless theories would emerge, but none of them would completely explain every detail of the case. Despite the official conclusion, the case refused to disappear from public attention. Over the years, countless theories spread across the internet. Some believed Elisa had accidentally entered the water tank during a mental health crisis. Others suspected that another person had been involved, pointing to unanswered questions surrounding the hotel's rooftop access. There were also paranormal theories, largely fueled by the mysterious elevator footage and the Cecil Hotel's long and unsettling history. However, investigators found no credible evidence supporting supernatural explanations or foul play. More than a decade later, people around the world continue to debate what truly happened. The mystery remains one of the internet's most discussed unsolved cases, proving that not every question receives an answer. More than a decade has passed since Elisa Lam's death, yet the questions surrounding her final moments continue to fascinate millions of people around the world. Officially, the case was ruled an accidental drowning, but for many, the unanswered questions remain impossible to ignore. Was Elisa simply the victim of a tragic series of events, or are there details that will never be fully understood? Perhaps the truth disappeared with Elisa Lam on that cold night inside the Cecil Hotel. Until new evidence is discovered, the mystery remains unsolved in the minds of countless people. What do you think really happened to Elisa Lam? Let us know your theory in the comments below. This is Nexoris, exploring the world's greatest mysteries.